Hey, I'm Wegener and welcome back to the Early Bird Photo News. When you're making YouTube videos, a lot of things happen behind the scenes that you usually never get to see in the final outcome. Like these HDMI cords constantly breaking in the most unfortunate moments when you need them for a review. Do you guys have items that you constantly lose or break? My resolution was basically to just go out and buy a whole bunch of these cords, and now I'm just going to put them in all backpacks and all car doors, so hopefully I never get caught out again with a broken cord. The talk of the town this week is definitely Sigma releasing an f2 200mm lens and also an RF 12mm APS-C lens with an aperture of f1.4. So two quite fast and interesting lenses. From all the reviews I've seen so far, the f2 200mm lens looks like a great piece of equipment that is nice and sharp with decent autofocus and gives you that beautiful, nice and soft bokeh at f2. So for instance, if you want to take somewhat long distance portraits, this seems to be a fantastic lens. I actually have a friend who loves using an f2 200mm lens for macro work and in particular to photograph plants and flowers because it gives them a quite unique look and also quite a unique look with the different autofocus rings in the background. So while this is definitely not a lens for me, I'm excited to see this development happening in that sort of big lens telephoto sector with Sigma creating some quite unique new lenses and hopefully Canon and others following in 2026, fingers crossed, with their own versions of some new interesting prime lenses. While looking at the Sigma lens, I noticed one feature that Sigma and Tamron do all the time that Canon, Nikon and Sony just refuse to do for no apparent reason that is actually really annoying for us photographers. And I have no idea why they're not doing it. I'm talking about lens feet on our lenses. This is probably the worst design of them all, the 200 to 800, because you can't even remove this foot and it's really big. But all other lenses as well, the bigger telephoto lenses at least from Canon, Nikon and Sony, also come with these lens feet that don't have any Arca Swiss capabilities built in. Basically, you just get a lens and you have the lens foot that would only work if you screw in a monopod, but for nothing else. If you want to put it on a tripod or tripod head, you will always have to buy one of these lens plates with it, or you have to get one of these replacement feet like I use on my f4 600mm prime lens. And I really don't know why all these other companies refuse to give us Arca Swiss style lens feet. It would be so much easier to just buy a lens that has these capabilities built in, and if you want to use it on a tripod like you do with a lot of big lenses, you just slide it in and it's fine. I personally find it a little bit annoying that you pay maybe $14,000 for an f4 600mm prime lens, and then you have to go out and buy a $200 or $300 replacement foot because the lens foot on your $14,000 lens doesn't actually let you use it on a tripod. And on a lens like this, where the lens foot is quite big already, having to screw an extra lens plate on top makes it even heavier, even bigger, and difficult to put in a backpack. And if any one of you knows why the big brands are actually refusing to give us the better lens feet, definitely let us know in the comments. Is it patents? Is it weight? Is it something else? I have no idea, but I would love to know why. Over the last few weeks, I've used a crazy amount of cameras and there's a lot of interesting videos coming up, some of which I can't release just yet. I've used the Z52, Z5 II, Z6 III, Z8, Z9, A12, A9 III, R5II, and R1. It's definitely not an easy task to use all these different bodies side by side, but eventually your hands get used to the different ergonomics and exactly know where the buttons are, even if you switch between the different brands. One camera that I was really looking forward to use again was the Sony A1 Mark II with the new firmware 3.0, and I really wanted to see if there have been some improvements compared to the earlier versions that I had used a few months ago. So over the last little while, I took the A1 II out with me in the field and shot it in many different scenarios. And overall, I must say I'm really impressed. Of course, there's some strengths and weaknesses that I will touch on in another video, the long promised Canon vs Sony vs Nikon autofocus video. But for now, I must say that the most impressive feature about Sony for me is always the performance of the pre-capture and the high burst speed and the tracking of a bird taking off from a branch, for instance. The A9 III and the A1 II in particular are fantastic at this task. When I'm photographing birds in my backyard, for instance, these are the two cameras that give me the best possible results. The pre-capture locks onto the bird, and if the bird takes off and even flies directly at me, the cameras usually still manage to keep focus on it and give me a series of razor-sharp images, which I found much more difficult to achieve with other systems. It gets to the point that whenever I have one of these two cameras, and in particular the A9 III in my hand, I don't even care about anything that's sitting down anymore. I just want it to take off so I can get some awesome flight shots. I'll talk about the autofocus and the best way to set it up and some of the downsides in the upcoming video, but I'm definitely overall impressed when I'm using these cameras in the field because I just get these stunning results. The image quality out of the cameras is also fantastic. Even though at high ISOs, you definitely have to get rid of some of the noise, in particular on the A9 III. Because of the global sensor, it definitely shows a little bit more noise from like 32 or 6200 onwards. Over the last few weeks, I've shared a bunch of editing videos with you that you should definitely check out if you haven't done so already, where I showed you how to denoise your files, how to clean up the colors, and how to make images that might not be perfectly sharp look perfectly sharp. And with these tricks, it's actually not that difficult to turn a dull, boring, noisy RAW file into a stunning final masterpiece. And if you want me to show you more of these techniques and many more that will have a dramatic impact on the final look of your RAW images, I would recommend that you check out my Lightroom and Next Generation Photoshop Masterclasses. In these classes, I teach you step by step and in easy to follow chapters, my workflow that you can apply to all your RAW images and get fantastic results every single time, even from your most difficult to edit files. But of course, you won't just be watching because I'm also providing you with my own RAW files so you can edit right alongside me. And if you're not sure if my classes are worth it or the right fit for you, check out some of the amazing reviews that I receive on a daily basis from many happy students who I've helped to transform their editing lives, who now love image editing and get great results every time. I know image editing is something that many of you like to avoid or brush aside or think it's not necessary, but with the right workflow and the right tweaks, you can truly transform your RAW images, and even dull and boring files can suddenly turn out to be stunners. So if you're fed up with not knowing how to edit your images or how to get the best results from them, my masterclasses will be a great starting point to get you on your way, because I know they will help you a lot to develop that crucial workflow and get great results that will make you very happy. As photographers, we're often conflicted, should we shoot photos or videos? And I know a lot of you guys actually don't really like shooting videos, but there's certain moments in the field where a video can simply transport the message much better than a photo. And a good example of that would be the baby lapwings that I was filming during my R7II review. I was in a local park with these baby lapwings walking all around me, and from time to time they would slip under their parents' wings. And while I got some nice images, I felt like creating slow motion moments of the little baby walking towards the mum and then tucking under the wing just gave me something that is very difficult to capture in the same way in a photograph. Would you guys agree? Are there certain moments where videos simply transport a certain moment in a better way? Or are you saying, I'm a photographer, I only take photos? I love doing both. If I had to choose, I'm probably still a little bit more in love with photos than with videos. But at the same time, I think capturing high-end videos is actually something that's very interesting and rewarding in the field as well. And if you post on social media, it will also help you with your engagement. This week, Canon Rumors also posted a list of specs for the R7 Mark II, and they also said that it might be delayed sometime into Q4 this year. Personally, I still haven't heard anything about an R7 Mark II from any of my sources, so I'm not entirely sure it will come out this year, but for now we just have to go with what other people have said. Of course, we don't know if these specs are correct either, but from what I can see, they would actually be quite interesting. And it looks like a camera that would be very good for nature photography and undoubtedly would also cost more than the current R7. So from the specs, it seems like we might get a 33 megapixel stacked sensor, 4K 120 frames per second in video, which is also great, and also a larger size body, most likely similar to what we have in an R5 Mark II or in an R6 Mark II. On top of that, we obviously would also get proper pre-capture shooting and up to 40 frames per second. So all around, a pretty amazing sounding camera. Would you guys agree? Do you think it's likely that it comes out with specs like this, or are we going to see the cripple hammer somewhere to keep the price pushed down just a little bit? Because what is the maximum price you guys would be willing to pay for an R7 Mark II? Is it the current $1,500 range, the $2,000 range, $2,500 range, even $3,000 if it was truly moved up market? That's something I think would be very interesting, and I think Canon would be conscious of not making the camera too expensive. And what about the shape of the camera? Do you prefer to have it the current size and weight of the R7 with the different ergonomics, or are you happy that it might move into that sort of R5 II, R6 Mark II body and is more in line with the old 7D series? We haven't had too many Nikon news over the last little while, but it seems like this week they're going to be releasing a version 2 of their 2.8 24 to 70mm zoom lens. While I personally love the 24 to 105 zoom range, a lens like I'm currently filming on, 24 to 70 f2.8 is definitely one of the most popular lenses out there, and so I expect it to be fantastic and definitely one that a lot of people will be looking at. In terms of announcements of Canon, it seems like the next camera might not actually be an R7II or an R6 Mark III, but an EOS Cinema line camera with a smaller APS-C crop sensor, something that would rival Sony's FX series cameras that are quite popular with content creators. Now, I know a lot of you guys might not be that interested in video cameras, but personally I think it would be quite nice to have a few smaller video cameras that I could use throughout the studio or when filming content in the field. And on that note, I think it's a good time to wrap up today's early bird photo news. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give me a thumbs up for it. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments. Check out my channel membership and masterclasses. And of course, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you guys in another video very soon. Bye.